Corey. Give me some kind of form to work with, I guess. I'm hearing an introduction right here. There's me trombone. Verse.
Wow, the institution of marriage is certainly taking a battering, I would say, and there's people that are confused about how to make marriages work. They're confused about where we are in society. And in our virtual green room right now is a perfect guest to talk about this. Mohammad Kamaludin is with us, and he understands and has been asked to talk about this. What are some of the struggles? And specifically, his book is called A Cultural Perception of Marriage Among Muslims, but I would argue that more than Muslims can relate to this book and can really pull some of this useful information from it. Mohammad, thanks so much for coming on with us.
It's my privilege, ma'am, and thank you for having me.
What was it that made you decide to write the book? Because I know you lecture and you talk about marriage and family and whatnot. Did you feel there was a real need for this?
Yes, I did. I have to go back to my part of my career as a marriage counselor over the past 45 years. And the encounters that I have met between married couples and the divorce and, battered wives and women being misunderstood. And I wrote a book about 7 years ago, a very brief textbook on this subject called Love and Mercy, because I think these are the two qualities that should be emphasized in a relationship between a wife and a husband, love and mercy. And this is something that is mentioned in the scriptures. Almighty God said He created us, and from our creation, we take our wives and our husbands and just put love and mercy between us. And this should be the fundamental understanding of how the relationship should work. Having written that book, and I had a lot of comments coming back from my readers, and then I was asked by quite a few people to enlarge on the subject, including what we call the fiqh, the general understanding of the marital relationship, from its embryo, where the couples meet, the proper procedure, how they should meet, the meeting taking place. And in the book, I've pointed out the advantage that the woman has, because in a marital relationship, the woman has the advantage. She's the one who's been asked. And in the scriptures, Almighty God has pointed out that He gives her this right to choose. So I emphasize in the book that forced marriage is something not accepted. Also, I emphasize in the book that we men do not understand women. And I have proof of this over the years of dealing with marital relationship. So I try to cover all these subjects and the protocols of marriage, how the marriage should take place, under what circumstances, the fundamental principles that govern marriage, up to the relationship itself, where they meet for the first time after marriage, how that relationship should develop gradually, getting to know each other, and the wali, or in the Christian vernacular, they would say the guardian, or the person who gives the wife, the lady in marriage. And he should be on the reserve at all times, in case there's some form of conflict. This was not understood properly. So I emphasized these issues. I pointed out through my experiences, some of the reasons that causes the marriage to be broken down and how it should be dealt with in order to bring about reconciliation. So these are some of the points that I try to cover. And of course, one of the biggest danger we have in the relationship is anger. And this is coming from both sides, how it should be dealt with. And I've even included some of my studies, the categories of marriage, anger rather, which is 3, and how it can be dealt with. And I gave some examples when a person recognizes that they have a problem and to seek help and advice to control this very, very ugly part of the human behavior.
So, we don't want to give everything away, but as you talk about, Mohammad, about anger and that you give tips, and I think those tips are so valuable. Give us one of the tips. So somebody has the flash of anger, something happens they don't like. What should they do?
Okay. First, we have to think, why do we get angry? sometimes we get angry for something that happens natural. For example, if a dog barks, a person could be sleeping and the dog barks and wake him up. Should he get angry? The dog was created to bark. So therefore, if we understand, if we as husbands understand our wives and the way she performs from, how should I put this? I think a woman is, her performance is based on emotion rather than being logical, because the things that I have observed that the woman has to go through in a marital relationship, you know, childbirth, childbearing, being responsible for run a house. She prepared the food. They could be having dinner together, the husband, and the child cried. The husband looked at her. He wouldn't get up and look at the child. You know, he expected her to get up and look at the child when she come out. The food is cold. He wouldn't come put the food, keep the food warm until she come back. And, you know, the simplest mistake she makes, he becomes angry. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do this? Without thinking about what she has been doing all day. And these are minor things that cause people to be angry. Jealousy, another point that I find that affects marital relationship. Extended family coming into the equation of how the family should behave. And there are many, many, many other things that cause the other party to be angry. To recognize why you're angry is the first point of reference.
Yes. Do you feel that in talking about anger, do you feel that it's tougher now because of technology? While it's a great thing, do you feel there's a lot of distractions and anxiety and things that pull at people that maybe weren't there before?
Technology may have some part to play, but not a major part, in my opinion, because we have come away from the protocols how a relationship would work over the years. For example, if you go to a society like Africa, some place in Africa, there are traditions that binds a family together. The community will be based on a tribal relationship. And maybe the tribe of 300-400 people live in one large community, and they take wives and husbands from that community. So there's an understanding. We in the West, we marry our wives because we met them, somebody introduced them to us. The proper protocol will not follow to get to understand where this family is from. Maybe I'm from Pakistan, maybe you're from Jamaica, maybe from America, maybe you're from Africa. So we don't understand how the cross-culture should work together, which can bring benefits because of the difference in culture. But then, because of the short space of time that the relationship developed, the understanding of how it should work is not there. Okay, so they get married. And 2-3 months after, when they begin to understand each other, rather understanding, misunderstanding come to the fore. And this is one of the problems I find in marital relationship in the West. So if that can be dealt with sensibly, as I indicated in the book, how they should proceed with the relationship, then that could be one of the antidotes to take care of that problem, anger. And you have behavior from men, alcohol, drugs, things like these. You know, people lose their sanity in dealing with marital issues. Men looking down on women think they are second class or how they should be treated from a cultural point of view. Whereas from a religious point of view, men and women are equal. They have their obligations and they have their rights. And if each give each other their rights and the obligation is fulfilled, then the relationship becomes steady. But it's to understand what are these rights and obligations that should be the governing instrument that actually governs the relationship between the wife and the husband and the children.
Yep, absolutely. It makes sense. We're speaking with Mohammad Kamaludin, and you can get his book, A Cultural Perception of Marriage Among Muslims, and go even deeper on this. And Mohammad, as we're wrapping up, because we have a couple of minutes left, and you've said some wonderful things that I think that people could apply and it would make such a difference in their lives. But what do you hope people take away from reading your book?
I think, I believe that marriage is an institution that should be studied the way you studied to drive a car. You don't get involved in a relationship, which is one of the most important in human relationship, without having an understanding how it should work. So the book is an education for people generally. So I would like people to read the book and see the different subjects that is covered in the book. and begin to understand how the relationship should work. Wallyship, the guardian, finding a partner, consent. Who has the consent? The husband's role in the relationship, the wife's role, sexual etiquettes, wife's duties, the children, the extended family. These are subjects that one should, arbitration in case there's a problem in the relationship. These are things that people should get the grip with in handling the relationship between the wife and the husband. I've done some case studies now which people read it and see the advice coming from couples that have been divorced. One of them get married again because of reading this book and they have a good understanding. I've also given advice to the difference between the people in the West and the people from the East. So I've got a subject based upon advice to the Muslim in the West. The grounds for divorce, the signs of anger, to recognize when anger becomes a part of the relationship that is destructive. And the use of the tongue, sometimes silence could be one of the most beautiful things in a relationship.
Yes. And you're right. The case studies are so powerful. We're out of time, but this book is really incredible. And I think I know because of your background and also the power of the proof and what you put into it, the work you put into it. So congratulations for that. Pick up this book. Thank you so much.